Namaste, LinkedIn. I have the fabulous MD and CEO of Ashok Leyland with us. Vipin Sondhi, welcome to our conversation today, and thank you so much for joining us. Vipin, welcome. Happy to have you here.
Namaste, Aruna, and thank you for starting that way, and you're being very generous at the outset, but it's a great privilege and pleasure, and thank you for calling me.
Vipin, we were talking about how, the second wave of COVID has actually taken away a lot of lives in India, created a lot of fear, a lot of, insecurities around our own lives and our people, etc. And it's very different from the first wave. I wanted to understand from you now that it is actually an established fact that it is here to stay, and we're not going to see the end of the second wave. It could just translate into third or fourth or fifth wave. What are some of those things you've done at an organization level to prioritize your people, and how do you intend to continue with that while balancing business continuity as well?
So if I were to take you a little bit back to the beginning of the first wave, is that even prior to the lockdown in March 2020, we set up what was called the Emergency Response Team, which was headed by the President Human Resources, and he had 6 people from different functions to ensure that we could respond to people who now had to work from home, who their families as well, but very importantly, the government, and also to the community at large. This emergency response team met every day right through the year. I think we thought, when we took perhaps as a country our eyes off the ball for some time, that perhaps the emergency response team also started operating maybe twice a week or so. It's back on now, and we've understood from the ferocity of this wave that we just cannot take our eyes off the ball. And as you mentioned, a third wave perhaps October, November, December time. The important other thing is that we are all connected with our doctors through WhatsApp. So I'm connected with all 8 doctors who at different points in time in our factories need certain help so that they can be cleared very, very quickly online. All of this is going to continue. So this is the first time really in my career, Aruna, that health has been the primary cause of an economic slowdown. In fact, an economic lockdown, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Empathy, therefore, and along with that then comes the need for the employees' requirements of the need to feel more belonging, so to speak. Therefore, empathy, motivation, where we can ensure that there is a certain amount of challenge that is given to the employee from problem solving. I'm talking of business continuity, problem solving, opportunities, but being sensitive while building morale because people are working from home. So it's a whole host of new challenges that leadership has. And I think we are all together trying to do our very best.
Yes, I agree, Vipin. It's a new challenge, and everyone has to get together and manage this in a unified manner. Vipin, there's enough data that suggests that women has actually been far more impacted during the pandemic than men, for obvious reasons. Would love to hear from you. What has Ashok Leyland done in terms of prioritizing women needs, being more sensitive to them? And also, if you could touch upon a little bit on a subject that's very dear to you, which is diversity and inclusion. What are your priorities around diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, I think in every phase, Aruna, it is the duty of all of us and those more privileged to ensure that there is equal opportunity and certainly equal gender opportunity. If 50% of our people are women and contribute to the GDP, it's not recognized, unfortunately, in many cases, but there's a huge contribution every day which is happening. And therefore, an opportunity, if anybody, if any woman would like to work in the corporate sector or in any sector, must be given that opportunity. Now, the question is, how do we make it easier or develop an ecosystem that promotes this? The entire onus is on leadership. With work from home, it could be, some say it's easier and some say it becomes more difficult as well. So it's not straightforward at all. At the end of the day, what is empathy? Empathy is that we must try and listen. We may not agree, but must try and listen to the other person. It doesn't matter what gender, what community. Now, talking of women specifically, there are specific requirements. Now, that is a requirement that the corporation or the community or the country has to meet. We can't just wish it away by saying it won't happen. So whatever we can do to create an ecosystem, which we are trying, not enough, we will keep trying to ensure that women feel safe, women feel that they are getting an equal opportunity, women feel encouraged to come and work with Ashok Leyland. We will do our best. We have women leaders now coming in. They're growing up the organization. That then gives so much comfort to us that perhaps at least voices are coming in that can make us ensure that we are listening and taking action. So whatever is required, we will do our best, Aruna.
Sure. So what I heard from you is that empowerment of women and gender equality and equal opportunity for them seems to be a priority for you and Ashok Leyland.
It will always remain a priority. It's good for the organization, it's good for the community, and it's just good for everybody. You get different perspectives, and therefore at the end of the day, customers or the community are all built of all of us, and we've got to reach out to them. And what better if you can have a representation of that in your own workforce? There's nothing like it. So we will continue.
One last question. It's around what would your message be to our audiences today in LinkedIn, especially in India?
Well, number one, of course, health has to be a priority, and we shouldn't let our guard down. Empathy has to be a priority, because there are people, especially in the second wave, who've been very closely impacted in terms of family, close friends. All of us in some way have been impacted. The vision that we had set for ourselves must not change. It could be, the time period could be deferred a bit, but the vision itself, Ashok Leyland's, is to be the top 10 global commercial vehicle player. Now, a lot of people ask me, does that change? The answer is no, it does not change.
So what I heard really from you, Vipin, was whatever measures you took to deal with the second wave of COVID, that's going to continue as a priority, as a policy at an organizational level. There is a huge focus on gender equality and being more sensitive to women's need at Ashok Leyland, and you want to make that a safe and a great place for women to come in and work. And also a vision around your own vision not changing, but the path to that may be different. Prepare to change how you get to that vision, but your entire vision stays the same.
Absolutely. And then may I add a couple of things, if it's all right with you, Aruna? Each one of us has to build in sustainability into our process, into our workspace, into our product, to ensure that each small action taken multiplies for a better community, a greener community, so that we can all be safe and we can be healthy going forward. Thank you, and namaste, Aruna.
Namaste, Vipin, and thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Great messages for our audiences. Thank you.